Have you ever had that quiet feeling that life is moving, but you are not? You wake up. You check your phone. You scroll. You laugh at a few videos. You answer a few messages. You tell yourself you'll start tomorrow. Tomorrow you'll fix your body. Tomorrow you'll build discipline. Tomorrow you'll stop wasting time. Tomorrow you'll become the person you keep imagining in your head. But then tomorrow comes, and somehow, nothing changes. And the scariest part is not that you are failing. The scariest part is that you are getting used to failing yourself. Little by little, your standards drop. Your dreams become smaller. Your excuses become stronger. And the version of you that once believed in more, starts becoming quiet. So here is the truth most people avoid. Nobody is coming to save you. Not your parents. Not your friends. Not your partner. Not motivation. Not luck. Not some perfect moment in the future. At some point, you have to become the person you were waiting for. And maybe that sounds harsh. But it is also the most freeing truth you will ever accept. Because if nobody is coming to save you, then you are finally allowed to stop waiting. You are allowed to stand up. You are allowed to rebuild yourself. You are allowed to become the person you needed when you were lost, tired, scared, ignored, and unsure of who you were becoming. And in this video, I'm not going to give you empty motivation. I'm going to show you why you keep delaying your own transformation, how comfort secretly controls your choices, and how silent focused discipline can turn you into someone even you barely recognize. Not overnight. Not magically. But realistically. One decision at a time. Because the person you become 6 months from now is being built by what you tolerate today. And that is where everything begins. Most people think they are stuck because they do not have enough time. But that is rarely the real problem. The real problem is that their attention is being stolen. Your life does not fall apart all at once. It leaks away quietly. 5 minutes on your phone becomes 30. One skipped workout becomes 2 weeks. One late night becomes a broken routine. One excuse becomes your identity. You do not wake up one day and suddenly become undisciplined. You train yourself into it. Every time you choose distraction over responsibility, you teach your brain, this is who we are. Every time you avoid the hard thing, you make avoidance easier next time. And every time you break a promise to yourself, your confidence takes a small hit. That is why you can have big dreams and still feel weak inside. Because deep down, confidence is not built from talking about your goals. It is built from keeping small promises when nobody is watching. Think about your day. How much of it is truly yours? Not the version of you reacting to notifications. Not the version of you comparing your life to strangers. Not the version of you chasing quick dopamine because silence feels uncomfortable. The real you. The focused you. The one who knows exactly what needs to be done, but keeps getting pulled away by easier things. This is where the battle starts. Not in some dramatic movie moment. But in the boring moments. When you want to scroll, but you choose to read. When you want to sleep in, but you get up. When you want to complain, but you take responsibility. When nobody claps, nobody notices, and nobody cares. That is where the new version of you is born. And here is the first uncomfortable question. Are you actually tired, or are you just addicted to comfort? Because comfort is one of the most dangerous prisons in the world. It does not look like a prison. It looks like safety. It looks like I deserve a break. It looks like I'll start when I feel ready. It looks like I've been through a lot, so I shouldn't be too hard on myself. And sometimes, yes, you do need rest. But a lot of people are not resting. They are hiding. They are hiding from pressure. Hiding from failure. Hiding from responsibility. Hiding from the version of themselves they know they could become if they stopped making excuses. Your comfort zone does not scream at you. It whispers. Stay here. Don't risk it. Don't try too hard. What if people laugh? What if you fail? What if you change and lose people? And because the voice is quiet, you mistake it for wisdom. But it is not wisdom. It is fear wearing a calm voice. Psychologically, the brain loves what is familiar. Even if the familiar life is painful, it can feel safer than change. That is why people stay in habits they hate. That is why they repeat patterns they know are hurting them. That is why they keep choosing the same comfort, even when it costs them their future. Because change demands proof. It asks you to become someone before the results arrive. It asks you to wake up early before you feel successful. It asks you to train before you see the body. It asks you to study before you see the opportunity. It asks you to act like a stronger person while you still feel weak. And that is why most people quit. They want the identity after the reward. But real transformation works the other way around. You become the identity first. Then the reward starts catching up. So no, you do not need to feel confident before you begin. You begin, and confidence follows. You do not need to feel disciplined before you build a routine. You build the routine, and discipline follows. You do not need to feel like the person you needed. You become that person through repeated action. Quietly. Privately. Daily. Nobody is coming to save you. Become the person you needed. Now here is where most people get it wrong. They announce the change too early. They tell everyone, this year is my year. They post the goal. They talk about the comeback. They explain the plan. They imagine the applause. And for a few days, it feels good. But talking about change gives your brain a small reward before you have actually earned anything. It creates the emotional feeling of progress without the reality of progress. That is why silent transformation is so powerful. Because silence protects your energy. When you stop explaining yourself, you start building yourself. When you stop trying to be seen, you start becoming undeniable. There is something deeply powerful about disappearing from noise and returning with results. Not because you want revenge. Not because you want to impress people. But because for once in your life, you decide that your future deserves more respect than your distractions. Imagine 6 months of silent focus. 6 months of waking up earlier. 6 months of training your body. 6 months of reading, learning, building, practicing. 6 months of saving money. 6 months of cutting toxic habits. 6 months of refusing to argue with people who are committed to misunderstanding you. You would not be the same person. Your face would change. Your energy would change. Your standards would change. Your conversations would change. Your circle would change. And the people who thought they knew you would feel confused. Not because you became arrogant, but because you became aligned. That is the real flex. Not looking successful online, but becoming peaceful in private. Not proving everyone wrong, but proving yourself right. And here is the second question. What would your life look like if you stopped needing permission to become serious? Because many people are secretly waiting for someone to validate their transformation. They want someone to say, I believe in you. They want someone to notice their pain. They want someone to apologize for not showing up. They want someone to finally understand what they carried alone. And yes, maybe you deserve that. Maybe you deserved more support. Maybe younger you needed guidance, protection, encouragement, and love. Maybe there were moments when somebody should have helped you, and they didn't. That pain is real. But at some point, healing begins when you stop waiting for the people who failed you to become the people you needed. You become that person. You become the voice that says, get up. You become the friend that says, you are not done. You become the parent you needed, the mentor you needed, the protector you needed, the leader you needed. You stop abandoning yourself just because others abandoned you first. That is maturity. That is self-respect. That is the moment your life starts changing. Now let's make this practical. Because motivation without action is just emotional entertainment. If you want to become unrecognizable, you do not need a perfect life. You need a system. Start with the first hour of your day. The way you start your morning often decides the emotional direction of your mind. If the first thing you do is grab your phone, you are training your brain to be reactive before you even stand up. You wake up and immediately enter other people's thoughts, problems, opinions, bodies, success, drama, and noise. Before you have even chosen who you are today, the world has already chosen for you. So protect the first hour. No scrolling. Drink water. Move your body. Make your bed. Write down 3 things you must do. Not 20. 3. 1 for your health. 1 for your future. 1 for your discipline. Then do the hardest one early. Why? Because when you complete something difficult at the beginning of the day, you send a message to your nervous system. I am not controlled by comfort. That one message changes everything. Second, practice what I call the 5-minute confrontation. Every day, sit with yourself for 5 minutes without music, without a phone, without distraction. Ask yourself, what am I avoiding? What promise have I broken to myself? What would I do today if I actually respected my future? What habit is making me weaker? What kind of person am I becoming if I continue like this? Most people never ask these questions because they already know the answer. But the answer is where freedom starts. You cannot change what you refuse to face. Third, build evidence. Do not rely on feelings. Feelings are inconsistent. Some days you will feel powerful. Some days you will feel empty. Some days you will feel inspired. Some days you will feel like giving up. That is normal. So stop asking, do I feel motivated? Ask, what evidence did I create today that I am becoming stronger? Did you train? Did you study? Did you save money? Did you stay calm when you wanted to react? Did you do the work when nobody cared? That evidence becomes your new identity. Psychologists often describe identity as something reinforced by repeated behavior. In simple terms, you become what you repeatedly prove to yourself. If you keep proving that you quit, you start seeing yourself as a quitter. But if you keep proving that you show up, even imperfectly, you start seeing yourself as someone who does not break easily. That is how self-respect is built. Not through positive quotes. Through proof. Fourth, choose your pain. Because pain is coming either way. The pain of discipline or the pain of regret. The pain of being judged or the pain of staying invisible. The pain of waking up early or the pain of watching your potential die slowly. The pain of being alone for a season or the pain of being surrounded by people who keep you small. You do not get a painless life. You get to choose which pain creates your future. And this is where the third cliffhanger comes in. The people who change their lives are not always more talented than you. Many of them were not smarter, richer, luckier, or more confident. They simply reached a point where staying the same hurt more than changing. That point is powerful. Because when excuses stop working, responsibility becomes the only path left. Think of people throughout history who transformed in silence. Before anyone recognized them, they were just ordinary people doing difficult things with no guarantee. Athletes training before sunrise. Writers facing blank pages for years. Entrepreneurs failing privately before anyone knew their name. Students studying while friends went out. Immigrants building new lives from nothing. Single parents working quietly while exhausted. Young adults healing wounds nobody could see. The world usually sees the result. It does not see the lonely repetition. It sees the body, not the mornings. It sees the success, not the doubt. It sees the confidence, not the years of rebuilding self-worth in silence.
That is why you cannot compare your beginning to someone else's visible result.
You do not know what they survived. And they do not know what you are capable of becoming. So stop performing weakness. Stop making your pain your personality. Yes, what happened to you may explain some of your patterns.
But it cannot become the excuse that buries your future.
You can be wounded and still responsible. You can be tired and still take one step. You can be scared and still move. You can be alone and still build. Nobody is coming to save you. Become the person you needed. Let's recap what actually changes a person. First, attention. Your life follows your focus. If your attention is scattered, your future will be scattered.
Protect your mind like your life depends on it, because in many ways, it does.
Second, discomfort.
Growth lives outside the place where everything feels easy. You do not need to destroy yourself, but you do need to challenge yourself.
Comfort is fine as a place to rest.
It is dangerous as a place to live.
Third, silence. Stop announcing every dream. Build privately. Let your results become the announcement. Fourth, evidence. Your brain trusts proof. Every small promise kept becomes a brick in your identity. Every disciplined action is a vote for the person you are becoming. And fifth, responsibility. This is the hardest one. Because it means you stop waiting for rescue. You stop blaming the past for every choice in the present. You stop hoping someone will finally appear and fix the parts of your life only you can repair. And no, that does not mean you never need help. Healthy people ask for support. Strong people learn from others. Wise people accept guidance. But there is a difference between receiving help and waiting to be saved. Help supports your movement. Rescue replaces your responsibility. And your life cannot be built by someone else carrying the weight that was meant to make you stronger. So here is your challenge. For the next 7 days, do not try to change your whole life. That is how people burn out. Instead, choose one promise. 1. Wake up at a fixed time. Walk every morning. Read 10 pages. Train for 20 minutes. Clean your room. Apply for better opportunities. Study one skill. Avoid your biggest distraction for 1 hour a day. One promise. And keep it for 7 days. No drama. No announcement. No perfect mood required. Just proof. Because if you can trust yourself with one promise, you can trust yourself with a bigger one. And if you can rebuild trust with yourself, your entire life starts to change. There will come a day when you look back at this version of yourself and feel grateful that you did not give up. You will remember the nights you felt behind. The mornings you wanted to quit. The silence. The loneliness. The slow progress nobody saw. And you will realize something powerful. You were not being punished. You were being prepared. Prepared to become stronger. Prepared to become wiser. Prepared to become the person younger you needed. Prepared to become the person future you will thank. So do not wait for the perfect time. Do not wait until you feel ready. Do not wait until people understand. Do not wait until the pain disappears. Start now. Start small. Start imperfect. But start with the seriousness of someone who finally understands that their life is not a rehearsal. Nobody is coming to save you. Become the person you needed. And remember this. The strongest version of you is not found by being rescued. It is built the moment you decide to stop abandoning yourself.